What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is Professor Anime, and welcome back to yet again another video, and welcome back to another Black Clover episode review. But actually, in today's review, we are going to be reviewing 2 episodes of Black Clover. Well, more so just giving you my overall thoughts of what these episodes contained. And that is episode 6 of Black Clover, which aired last week. However, I missed out on that and kind of just, to be honest, I felt kind of lazy to go ahead and review episode 6 right off the bat. So I kind of just waited for, the next episode to arrive, which is episode 7, and might as well, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. So in today's video, we're going to be reviewing episode 6 and 7 of Black Clover. So without further ado, let us jump into it. So what I have been hearing from via Twitter and also via YouTube when it comes down to the latest episode of Black Clover, that aired last week, episode 6, everybody was actually saying that, it does seem as though Black Clover is actually getting, better by each and every episode. There was actually quite a few people who enjoyed it in last week's episode. And me personally, I did enjoy certain aspects of episode 6, but to be honest with you, I did not like it as much as in episode 7, which was today's episode. Pretty much episode 6, episode 6 and 7 were pretty simplistic in terms of content, really. Really we're just getting introductions to characters as well as, the Black Bulls. That was mainly the context for episode 6. Just getting us introduced to the Black Bulls. Asta is finally, a member. He gets the cape, he gets the headband. We get to get introduced to various other characters that fall under, various common stereotypes that we have seen in manga and in other anime. We have the drunk girl, we have the boss, we have the guy that's too obsessed over his sister, stuff like that. They're, very common stereotypical anime, characters. There's nothing really unique about them from what we have seen of them thus far. Now, that doesn't mean that these characters are bad, so to speak. It's just the fact that I personally find pretty much most of these characters to be quite uninteresting. The only character that I would probably assume that I find interesting, in my personal viewpoint, is probably Yami. I'm curious to see more of Yami. I'm curious to, see all of these characters' magical powers, but in terms of personality, magic abilities, and just overall backstory, I'm very curious to learn more about Yami and why he is the way he is. And maybe Marilyn Manson as well, so, there's that. But despite the content being very simplistic in episode 6 of Black Clover, pretty much one of the major things that we find out in episode 6 in the series is that apparently Asta has the ability not only to cut through opponents, with his sword, but it can also be used to nullify magic, which is quite interesting because not only does he have a sword, that can technically cut through anything, but at the same time, with an ability that allows you to nullify magic, you technically have a shield, and his sword is his shield in a way. But despite this, while he is able to nullify, certain magical abilities, if Asta is going to be able to fight, he is going to have to get up close and personal in order to actually combat himself against the opponent. Now, sure, there was in this episode, episode 6, where one of the Black Bull members, shoots out a fireball at Asta, and, Asta's at a distance, and he completely, shoves his sword into the fireball, kind of like a baseball bat. Sure, you can nullify it that way, but all in all, when it comes down to actually taking down certain opponents, Asta's gonna have to get up close and personal. So, at the same time, while he has a pretty good ability, he is still kind of at a disadvantage amongst everyone else who can use magical abilities, because if he is, going to be able to use this sword, he has to get up close and personal. There's only so much that he can do at a distance. So yeah, when it comes down to episode 6 of Black Clover, there really isn't a whole lot of content as far as, what was shown. It was just pretty much Asta getting introduced to the, Black Bulls, as well as, each and every other member undergoing a specific test to basically make himself a new recruit into the Black Bulls, to make sure that he is, up to snuff, so to speak, to actually be within the ranks of them, and he ultimately ends up passing, and then we actually see him get up the get-up for his own guild, so to speak. He has the headband of the Black Bulls and also the cape of the Black Bulls, and pretty much the episode just ends there. So it was a very simplistic episode. It was cool in some cases. However, in other cases, it was very annoying. Very annoying. And I'm not just talking about Asta's voice. I'm talking about at certain points, you know, in the episode where we actually see him undergoing the test. To me, when it came down to him doing you know, those push-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that, just seeing the camera constantly shake, zooming in and out like this, just stop. Just stop. If you can't animate, you know, the movement of the character, just don't animate it at all. You know, show us a correct, you know, animation to a push-up or a sit-up. Don't just do this. You see what I'm saying? It's annoying. Now, as far as episode 7 of Black Clover goes, pretty much it was more or less the same thing from episode 6 that we have seen. I mean, it was pretty much just, you know, Asta getting acquainted to the headquarters of the Black Bulls, and to know that this base actually constantly, you know, shifts and shapes is kind of interesting in a way, but anyway, that is really not the main focus of this episode. The main focus of this episode not only was just Asta getting acquainted, you know, with his newfound home, you know, the Black Bulls base, but it was also to showcase a new recruit to the Black Bulls, which is actually what many manga readers of the Black Clover manga consider to be quote-unquote best bae. And that is Noelle. And honestly, from seeing her in this episode, I gotta agree. I gotta agree. She's probably going to be best bae. You got me, guys. Professor Anime accepts Noelle for being best bae. But yeah, you know what? Regarding Noelle as a character, I'm actually finding her, you know, a little bit more interesting compared to the other characters that we have seen of Black Clover, because she actually has something to her character that puts her at a very big weakness, and that is her inability to actually be accepted by her own family, so to speak. Her, you know, brother, her sister looks down upon her, you know, pretty much the people from her royal family, you know, she is of royalty, and the people from her royal family do not acknowledge her one bit because she just cannot seem to control her magic. And, you know, this episode, we saw her have, you know, a very hard time to use, you know, her magical abilities, and when it comes down to those abilities, she has, you know, a lot of immense magical power. Like, what she created, you know, at the ending of this episode of Black Clover, to where Asta actually had to save her by nullifying, you know, her magic. You know, she made this big, like, water, like, bubble or whatnot that was just spiraling out of the ground and shit. And I'm like, yo, this looks pretty powerful. If she actually learns to control this, she could be, you know, a very, very powerful magic wielder. And personally, I like it when a main character has a weakness and they have to try to overcome that weakness as they go along with the series. You know, not only are they going to be growing as a character, but they're also going to be growing in the fields in which they lack in, you know. But when it comes down to Noelle's case, you know, I actually like her as a character. When it comes down to Asta, sure, he's the main character, sure, he can't use magical abilities whatsoever, but I actually don't like Asta as, you know, a character at all in this series. It's gonna take a while for me to actually grow on Asta, and, you know, that probably will never happen, just judging on how bad of an impression he left on me with episode 1 of Black Clover, and still to this day, I still cannot get his screechiness out of my head. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Asta. But when it comes to Noelle as a character, I actually really do like her. I want to learn more about this royal family, you know, that she has ties with, you know, and just see her, you know, develop on as the series goes on. I'm very curious to see on how she's going to grow as a character. So when it comes down to my first impressions of seeing, you know, Noelle, I like her. I like her a lot. So yeah, when it comes down to the rest of this episode, I really don't think there's anything else to talk about, really. Pretty much that was it. Really, as I said before in the beginning of this review, these past two episodes, or these two recent episodes, excuse me, have been really simplistic. You know, pretty much the only sort of summary that we really need from the content that we received from these two episodes that's actually important to the story, I guess, is that Asta finally joins the Black Bulls. Asta is able to nullify magic with his sword, you know, so he doesn't necessarily only have to, you know, cut through opponents, but, you know, he can also, you know, have the ability to actually nullify magic with his sword. And then there is also Noelle that we get introduced to in the Black Bulls, as well as, you know, the various other members that we learn about within this series, who will play, you know, hopefully bigger roles as the series goes on, because at the moment, as I said before, these characters aren't really exactly that interesting, but hopefully we can learn a little bit more about them and see more, you know, content from them as the episodes go on, to make, you know, the viewer actually care about these characters later on and what exactly happens to them, the obstacle that they face, etc. You know, stuff like that. So, yeah, when it comes down to these two episodes of Black Clover, very simplistic. It was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed certain bits of it, but there were also, you know, points in between each episode to where I'm just like, ooh, come on, just, you know, just stop, please, stop. You know, occasionally I was actually looking at the time, you know, to just see when the episode was over. But there were some good points of the episode, and I personally enjoyed episode 7 more so than 6. It could be, you know, different for you guys out there. Maybe you like episode 6 more than episode 7. I'm not exactly sure. Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know just your overall thoughts. How are you enjoying, you know, Black Clover overall, and what did you think about this review? What did you think about my overall thoughts? I know a lot of people out there are probably going to disagree with me on this, and if you dislike the video, sure, that is fine, but I'm just simply giving my overall thoughts and giving you my own personal review of what I thought of these two episodes of Black Clover. So, with that said, hopefully Black Clover gets better from here on out. It is getting better with each episode. It is starting to, you know, actually move along in its pacing from what I see as an anime only. I haven't read the manga, but from what I see, it is getting better episode by episode by episode. It's just being very slow in the content that it is delivering in. So, with that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. And if you're considering subscribing and you want to see more, hit that red subscribe button down below. And with that said, I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out. Thanks for watching.